Hey everyone, it's Brian here from Massey's Main Entertainment. We're returning again for our ongoing series of Building the Perfect Album. We're all the way up to 1985 now, halfway through the decade of the big 80s scene, and really enjoying this. Joined today, I've got Rich Strickler, as always, joining me. I'll have a link down below to his channel. We just came off of 84, and I feel like maybe 85 was a little bit better. But we're going to find out real quick. Doc, thank you for joining us. We're going to squeeze Doc for every ounce of time that we can before he tries to take another vacation on us. So that's just the way it's going to be. So,
sure.
What we do is we build a perfect album of 12 songs from that time frame, and we only pick one song per album. And it gets a little bit challenging some years. So, and we also post a Spotify list, playlists that are a collection of the songs that we actually chose for that. We'll put that on the links down below as well. We have videos up from 1965 all the way through 1984 already up and ready to go. Since 1980, we did all the videos in tandem with the top 10 movies of that particular year. So once you get done watching our video for 1985, Building the Perfect Album, switch right over to Rich's channel. Check out the top 10 movies for 1985. That's always really fun to do. We have such a varied taste there that sometimes it's a challenge for us to even know, how many of them we're going to match on, and how successful we could be actually picking the other people's movie choices. So, guys, what about you guys for 1985? I felt it was a really strong year, but maybe I'm wrong. What do you got?
Well, I would say I don't mind this year. You're right. I like my 12 a lot, and there's some ones that were just misses for me, and some might be a surprise on what just missed. That's fine. I think it becomes a little bit more diverse. Like for me personally, I'm even spreading more than I thought I would, maybe when I look back on things and how I do my list and stuff like that. So you might know me as one of these guys that's, I've got the hard or the other soft, and it's there's a blend here, and it just a little bit more on how I go with age, I guess. So I think it blends in for 85 the way it was for that year as well. So I think it represents well. Lots of good tunes, I think, in 85, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like my 12 too. There's no surprises. It's pretty much what I was listening to then, or the 12 I think now. I didn't really go back and discover anybody that's all of a sudden made an impression on me that had to be on the list. So these are 12 songs I listened to back in 85. I still like them, and they're going to make my list here today.
Good. Well, I guess the order is Rich is having a special birthday going on or something this week, because the order for the music today is I have to go first, and Doc will go second, and Rich gets to bat cleanup. And I also know Rich always bats cleanup on his movie stuff, so he's just living life right now, guys.
I'm a happy camper.
So I guess I'm going to lead it off here, and we'll see how it all pans out. I know that I think we only said I think I said there would be one trifecta, and you guys said there'd be none. Is that correct?
That's what I
said.
Right
none.
Now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to find out. So, kicking it off for me, I got side one. I've got leading off for me is "She Sells Sanctuary" by The Cult. What a great rocking tune. I see, look at Doc's already nodding his head there. That is a completely different sound for The Cult, and it is a rocking, jamming tune.
Nice.
Guitar work is fabulous in it. Really didn't even discover this song until maybe just a few years ago, and then I never really was a big fan of their track Firewoman that came out in the late 80s or anything. So, but this track I really loved, and I wanted to make sure I included it. Number two for me, I've got Sink the Pink from AC/DC. Maybe my favorite song from the 80s for AC/DC. Wow. I love the guitar solo in it that it has. Doesn't sound like anything's a normal. I mean, it just sounds atypical for an AC/DC song. Great. Like I said, great guitar riff in it. The drum line's really cool as well. And Doc, you have to make sure that I got it right. Was this from Fly on the Wall?
This is Fly on the Wall. Yeah.
Fly on the Wall. That's right. I just want to make sure I got the right album. But Love it, and I want to make sure I kept this rocking. This is kind of different for me to kind of start
Yeah,
off
this
with a
is. I
rocking
like
note.
it. I like it, Brian.
Big time.
Yeah, I know you would. So number 3 for me, I know some people really are hot and cold on this, but I actually got Money for Nothing by Dire Straits here. Just an absolute massive video that came out in the mid 80s, which was basically on MTV, and it was actually a little bit of a spoof of MTV in general,
Totally.
the whole music video. So I thought it was really cool. That whole album, Brothers in Arms, is just a tremendous album. So many great tracks on there to choose from. I went ahead and went with the mainstay song that everybody's really familiar with. Money for Nothing is number 3 for me. Number 4, I've got John Mellencamp. I've got Small Town from Scarecrow. Really great album. I had it on CD for the longest time, and I finally picked it up on album when I was on vacation in Maryland. Found a nice record store that had a nice copy of it for sale. I'm very psyched about that. Really good. It's a really good album all the way through. But this is my favorite track off of there, and maybe the most well-known track off of the album as well. I don't know. Some people might feel differently. Number 5 for me, I've got from Southern Accents, I've got Don't Come Around Here No More. Again, another song that's really driven by a huge music video that features Tom Petty playing the Mad Hatter. So there's this awesome parallel of Alice in Wonderland, meets, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, which is always entertaining, I suppose, in some way. Really great song, though. I would have thought this was one of those songs, too, I thought, that was so unlike some of the stuff that he was known for. And I think it was because of the music video, it allowed it to be an extra layer of accessibility for Tom here that I thought was great for him. And it was great for his career to be able to go ahead and reach a different type of crowd, maybe in some regards. So it was really cool. And last, closing out this side, I've got from Phil Collins, No Jacket Required, I've got Take Me Home. Figured I'd go with a little softer ballad here. Phil's album was just a monster album as well. There's a lot of songs I liked off of here, like Don't Lose My Ricky, Don't Use My Number. Which was it? What was it called? Billy, Don't Lose My Number, right?
Lose My Number.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of tracks on here as well. So I wanted to close it out with that, something a little different. So
yeah, it's close. Got some honorable mentions that I have artists the same, but just different tunes, like we did last year in '84. I do have one match, I'll say that, but I won't tell you what it is until I get to it. But I like that for the most part. You had me a little bit thrown with the Cult because I'm not a fan, but I respect your pick, and the rest of them are solid. What can I say?
Like your album, Brian. I like your album.
Yeah, see, I know good and well. There's one here on this second side too that Doc's just absolutely going to love, but I knew that Rich would not have it as a match, so I'm like, I'm not counting that as a trifecta. So I know that I bet you Doc has it. So we'll find out here in a second. So
let's see.
All right,
That's
so side 2, I'm leading off with from the Breakfast Club soundtrack. I've got Don't You Forget About Me from Simple Minds. Obviously a huge soundtrack, from the John Hughes film. Lots of great stuff on there, including a Wayne Chung song, which would probably be an ongoing joke for us for a long time. But yeah, everybody knows this song immediately. They're automatically associated with the Breakfast Club, and John Bender like raising his arm up in the freeze frame thing at the end of the movie, and things like that. So it definitely needed to include it. Number 2, one that Doc's really going to appreciate here. I've got from This Is the Sea. I've got The Hole of the Moon from the Waterboys. I was exposed to the Waterboys when I was going to college and listened to Fisherman's Blues when I was working at the college radio station. And I started running all their other old discography, and just such a great, unique sound from Mike Scott and those guys. They have different rotating musicians that they use, various Scottish musicians that they're constantly rotating in, and just a really good, unique sound. And they're able to put together rock music and traditional folk music and cover songs I saw some Van Morrison stuff that they actually did on Fisherman's Blues, just all really good stuff. And anybody who hasn't ever checked out the Waterboys, that definitely needs to run their discography. They won't be disappointed. Number 3 for me, I've got INXS from Listen Like Thieves. I've got What You Need, another kind of a big track for them. Obviously, this album is not as big as the album that we'll cover here in a couple more years, but it is a rocking tune from them, and I really like Michael Hutchison's voice in this, and the kind of the bass line on this is really different as well, and the drums are really good. So I mean, for an Australian act that didn't really get much airplay, this one just kind of jumped on the charts, and it just came out of nowhere, and it stayed for a while. So I thought they deserved to stay. Number 4, I've got a band that I just discovered a few years ago, The Replacements, from their album Tim. It's not my favorite album by The Replacements, but this is my favorite song by them. It's called Here Comes the Regular. Maybe my folks across the ocean could probably speak to it a little bit better, but such a tremendous song. Tim has such a different sound than Let It Be. Let It Be was very gritty, alternative rock sound, and Tim seemed to just scale everything back and focus much more on the musicianship. It seems like Westerberg had much more of a creative control of the band when they made this album, and then they made Pleased to Meet Me. It was just a completely different sound. I understand Let It Be being what it is, for influence on alternative rock music, but I think that Tim is actually the stronger album. Number 5, and this is no coincidence, I know it just recently they started playing this song again because of its appearance on Stranger Things season 4. I've got Kate Bush's running up that hill. It got all sorts of extra play, obviously, because it was featured during the series. Evidently, it was one of those things where if the person was being hypnotized by this demon in another dimension, music was one of the ways that you could actually draw the person back out of their trance. And this young lady always liked Kate Bush, so they were always putting headphones on her, and she's listening to Kate Bush in the headphones. So good song. I really love Placebo. One of my favorite bands does a cover version of this song, and I like theirs better. I always look at Placebo as like a really cocained up Depeche Mode. So to get them, those guys.
There's a vibe.
Yeah, just think about that. Depeche Mode on cocaine, and that's Placebo. And closing it out, a song that I remember hearing it as a child, didn't think much of it. Now that I understand what the song's about, I really like it. I've got Simply Red, Holding Back the Years. It's back then, maybe I just was associating it wrong, but really it's a song. The lead singer, his mom had left him at an early age, and then he was kind of stuck with his dad, and his dad just was this overbearing, controlling father that wasn't very nice to him. And really, this song's all about him letting go of all that hate and the crying and emotions that he felt from his mother leaving, and it's very touching song when you go back and you look at the reasoning behind the song, and it was very cool. So I like it. That's how I'm closing my album.
Very cool. That's that last song, that Simply Red song, I would have felt the same way, Brian. I didn't respect it or enjoy it, but 37 years later, or whatever the frig we're talking here, it's a meaningful, touching, and a kind of like a lovely song, man. It's a really nice song. So that's the way I would put it. But your list is great, man. Your list covers off a lot of friggin' 85, if you ask me. So that's my take.
I think I had another 1 on that side. So we have 2 possible trifectas, depending on what Doc does.
Yeah, as long as Doc doesn't mess it up, we're fine.
Then again, you guys will have a couple that I'll mess up when we get around to me. I knew you were going to have a Kate Bush tune. Of course, I didn't know which one it was. And I'm really surprised, maybe you have it on honorable mentions, that you didn't have any Talking Heads, because I know you're a big fan. And I think they had that little Creatures album that came out in '85.
Yes.
Yep.
But I'm surprised that not one of those cuts made it. But although it's not one of their best albums, I guess.
Right.
But nice, solid.
It's solid. Like a couple surprises, but that's cool. I think
That's
we're
cool.
all gonna have a couple.
Yep. You know what?
I'll tell you right now, I got a couple of surprises too. So it'll be, the way it is. I think it's 85.
I'm so glad that Petty and Mellencamp both made your list. I have to admit that.
Oh yeah, I mean those were like almost an automatic thing. I mean it's like Southern Accents, great album.
And Scarecrow, yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Man, I guess if I started up here on side A, Brian, I'm next, right? So
Yeah, you're next, buddy.
if I jump in and I tell you I start my side A, song 1, with She Sells Sanctuary from The Cult, man, that's the way it starts for me as well.
Oh.
So
Incredible.
yeah, there's it's a no-brainer, and it's not a no-brainer. I love the song Revolution off this album, off the Love album as well. I think that's a great tune, underrated, and I think it's a really good song. I've always loved that tune as well. But She Sells Sanctuary is a classic, man. This is a great rock song. Cult's an underrated band in a lot of respects. Their hits are hits. I'm a huge fan of the album Electric, and if I could, I'd probably, that one's just a kick-ass album, man, to me too. So, but She Saw Sanctuary off the Love album. I think it's a great way to start 85 in my eyes as well.
That is surprising that you let it off as well.
Yeah, totally, man.
Have it. I thought you could have it, but that's surprising. Yeah.
So I think it's hilarious because my second one is INXS, What You Need, to follow that up. It's the intro really to INXS in North America, I guess, is where I put this at. You don't know them until really this tune, and it's a monster, man. But yeah, Hutchinson sounds fantastic, man. And to INXS's credit, I hadn't really heard anything like this before, and it's still rocky and poppy and just a different kind of sound, even for music that you hadn't really heard, almost like a Cars in the late 70s kind of vibe. You hadn't really heard it before, but you really, really liked it. And INXS kind of has that same feeling to me in the mid 80s. So great tune. I just think you can be a rocker, you can be a punker, you can be whatever you want, man. I think this tune just catches with everybody. That guitar riff from Sink the Pig, man, is freaking awesome, eh? So that's my third tune in, buddy.
It's awesome. I know. I love Sink the Pink.
It's a great tune, man. It's the best song, right, off the album. And I think Danger's on that. That's a pretty good tune, I think, too. But this is AC/DC riffing out. Really bluesy, man. Really bluesy. It still goes back to that 70s bluesy kind of sound, I think, that the undertone to a lot of AC/DC songs has. And I think Brian sounds fantastic here too, man. It's just ripping it, I think, on vocals as well. Angus is always Angus. The Malcolm boys are doing their thing, man. But that when Brian's cranking it out, man, it's I like AC/DC a lot, man. So if I got something that's going to be close to my neighborhood, it's probably going to make my list. So Sink the Pink definitely does. Number 4. I'm going with Give Blood from Pete Townsend with my number 4 song. Underrated. This is solo, and this is Townsend sounding like, not the Who, but he's sounding like Townsend, right? It goes back to that, Empty Glasses kind of thing and stuff like this. It's got horns, he's got, backup singers. The drums in this tune is freaking incredible. And the riff, he's had a couple different versions of this. There's a great live version with him and David Gilmour playing this, man, and it's awesome too. So Give Blood is what a catchy hook on that guitar.
Which album is that on, Doc? Is that Empty Glasses?
No, it's after that.
Okay.
I can just see it now. I can't remember what it's called, but
I'll look it up. Yeah,
I'll look it up. Go ahead and continue. I'll look it up.
Yeah, Give Blood's it's a great tune, man. What a great rock song from Townsend. I think if you don't know it, you haven't heard it, you should give it a listen. I think it's you'll find it catchy enough. I follow that up. Go figure. I got Roger Daltrey's Under a Raging Moon coming in right behind it. So,
wow.
Got my Who boys representing it. I just got them doing some solo stuff. And I love both of these tunes, man. Both of these tunes. Under a Raging Moon. The ultimate, listen, man, you don't get too many drum solos in songs and stuff these days either, man. Go listen to that tune. Roger's definitely paying homage to Keith in this one, man. Holy cow. Roger sounds fantastic, and this sounds like almost like a Who song, if you want the truth. So this is kind of an underrated album from Roger Daltrey, I think. And it's got a few good tunes on here. This Under a Raging Moon, man, that's a rock song. Daltrey sounds fantastic, man. And mid-80s Daltrey's voice, still classic in my eyes, man. I'm gonna end mine with, yeah, Simple Minds, man, but it's Alive and Kicking for me. So my favorite from them. Again, it comes back. I just love the drums in that tune, if you want the truth. So just love the sound of it. Yeah, they were pumping out some biggies here. Yeah, Don't You Forget About Me is a monster from the Breakfast Club soundtrack and stuff like that. Alive and Kicking, same album. Huge album. It's my favorite tune from them, man, but I still love this tune now, man. I think Alive and Kicking is still a rocking tune, man. Still like it. And in my side A.
That album, by the way, from Townsend's called White City.
Yeah, I can remember. Thanks, buddy.
Yep.
Well, you know, I like your album.
Well, you guys went 3 for 3 right out of the chute.
Right out of the gate. I was like, wow.
And we just missed because you had Don't You Forget About Me, and I got Alive and Kicking.
That's right.
Ah, really close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm telling you, Rich, you got to go listen. You got to go listen to She Sells Sanctuary. You're gonna be awful happy.
It sounds like it. I can't say that I know a lot of cult because it's not my vibe. But I'll go back and check that out because you guys both had it. Number one.
It's a rock song, man. It's a heavier rock song, but it's a really good one, man.
Yeah. Sounds like it. Very cool.
Yeah, there you go. So there's side A of 85.
Nice.
So what you got on side B?
Side B, okay, so Southern Accents is my favorite Petty album. And I'm taking the title track, Southern Accents, to start my side. So it's my favorite song. And it's my favorite Petty song. Listen, man, Rebel and don't come around here no more are awesome. Rebels are fantastic to me, man. So if I could, I'd have all 3 on my freaking album if you want the truth.
Me too.
But
Yeah.
This one's such an emotional side, I think, to Petty on this one here, and it's Tom's a great storyteller, man, and it's Southern Americana storytelling at this one, man. This is friggin', I think almost Petty at his peak in one sense, man. So I love it. Southern Accents is just a fantastic song. If you want the truth, I'm not going to categorize it. It's just a fantastic song. And I have that kind of feeling here as we go. I got the title track of Brother in Arms coming in right behind it, man, from Dire Straits. I don't know what to say. Brian touched on it there. Money for Nothing, man. What a freaking guitar riff in that thing, man, and that's catchy as hell. Sting, and sure, it had the MTV and everything else. I just think for like an actual song, for me personally, I think Brothers in Arms is just kind of the masterpiece off of that album. If you want the truth, that's the way I would look at it in my eyes. I think it's a lot of senses. It's very simple, and I tend to go to something like that where I like the storytelling, and sometimes the simplicity of a song just is more of an attraction to me sometimes. And not that it's a simple song, but it just seems at a different level, I guess, right? And Mark Knopfler, totally underrated too in a lot of senses too. And this is a monster. Number 3. Yeah, I do like that Talking Heads. One song off of that friggin' album, I'll tell you that, man. And She Was.
Yeah.
Is going to come in at number 3 for me, man.
Yeah.
You can just hear the bass. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's my alarm tone on my phone. If you want the truth, that's
wow.
So it's. I just find it so catchy, and Burn doing the talk singing. I like that sometimes as well. And as we go through the list and stuff like this, I'm almost kind of like surprising myself in one sense that I have as much Talking Heads showing up on some of my lists that I do that I wouldn't think of that they do show up on. So I think that's kind of cool as we go through these things too. So, and She Was, 37 years ago, I was listening to it. I listened to it last week. So it's still with me. Got THRU coming in, man. I Drink Alone coming in right behind it. George has got a couple out here, man. It's just the guitar from him, man. There's something about the way that he plays guitar that is so. It's really appealing to me. I think it's one of the guys. If you like, you like, and if you don't, you don't. One sense, maybe it's too bluesy or too whatever or something like that. because not to say that it sounds all the same and stuff like that, because it doesn't, but he's got a sound to him. You know that it's him as soon as you hear it.
That's right.
And I Drink Alone, you know, yeah, maybe it's got some undertones and stuff like that to it and stuff as well. Maybe a little bit more meaningful of a song than what people give it credit for. But on the musical side of things too, catchy as hell, man.
Yeah.
And
I've always liked his horn arrangements.
Yeah,
I always thought they were so good.
Yeah, he puts together good music, man, when he's on, right? You know?
I like him a lot. Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna follow that up with Mellencamp, man, with Small Town. So there you go, Brian. Yeah, Scarecrow's a good album, man. And there's a couple of tunes. There's like 3 really good songs you could have really taken off of this one, I think. And depending on where you were and what you like and how your album fits and stuff like that. It's Lonely All Night and stuff like that. You know, it had some. I was thinking about that one for a while, to be honest with you. You know, just that line, custom made. You know, it always sticks in my head once I get that song in my head. So, but yeah, Small Town's a great tune, man. Obviously, it's mid USA singing here, man, and it's got that vibe, but it sounds fantastic. Mellencamp sounds great, man. He's peaking here. You know, he's into this. You know, he's popping out some good ones, and Small Town. Still another one 37 years later. That's still a really good tune, man. That maybe underrated. He gets overlooked, I think, in a lot of senses, and maybe he shouldn't. Gonna end it with The Hole of the Moon, Buddy, by the Waterboys. I cannot get around what Brian touched on earlier. Yeah, I've had this with me since '85, man. I got this on CD. I had this on cassettes. I had it on record. I like the Waterboys, especially in the heart of what they go through here in the next little bit. This Is the Sea is a classic album. If you like this kind of music, you will love this kind of music. And if you don't, I still think there's some good catchy things. The title track's fantastic as well. You know, the short tunes like Spirit and stuff like that. But The Hole of the Moon, if we were doing a top 10 of the 80s, this would be on there for me. So that's how high I rank this too, man. I love this song. And it's definitely, I'm just ending my album with it in '85. That's how I'm doing it.
Nice.
That is awesome. Yeah. I mean, we obviously hit on 2 there too. So yeah, Doc, we made up for last time, because in '84 we didn't bless it hit a thing. You know, it was like we were throwing darts at 2 different dartboards at 2 different bars. And but now it's like, yeah, we're much closer. We're back where we should be anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool, I thought.
Yeah.
Very nice. I like to see Mellencamp and Petty, like I told Brian. Same with you. Awesome. Thorogood. Love George Thorogood, too. I think it's got a signature sound. Nobody else sounds like him, right from that first guitar strum.
Yeah, you can just hear it.
You can just hear it, and then the voice comes in. I mean, just fantastic. So glad to see him show up there, too. Very cool. All right.
There you go, Rich. Now it's like, listen, you know, if I
all
hit
on you, brother.
3, 4, or something like that with Brian, it's all on you, brother.
I'm gonna burst a lot of bubbles here. Let's just put it this way: Doc and I's prediction is going to come true. Right out of the chute, I've got the "Rain on the Scarecrow" from John Mellencamp, the opener of the Scarecrow album. I just love that song. At the time, it was Farm Aid, and this song represents that to me the best. 97 families who lost 97 farms and crosses in the courthouse yard. I just love the lyricism and the picture that he paints with that. I love Small Town, Lonely Old Night, Rockin' in the USA, Minutes to Memories. All those songs are great on that album. But I went with Rain on the Scarecrow to lead off my album. That's one of my favorite Mellencamp songs. My second tune is Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I went with Rebels. That's another one of my favorite Tom Petty songs. Again, it's talking about those blue-bellied devils and one foot on the gas and one foot on
the metal, one foot on the
rebel. Down in Dixie, you know, and hey, 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 he's got that chant going. Just there's great guitar work in that song as well. It's a real anthem for the South, I'm sure. My number 3 track is John Fogerty's Center Field. I'd have a little baseball in there. I love Mellencamp. Seen him live. He always brings out that guitar that's shaped like a baseball bat. And I just like the whole vibe of center field. He's dancing around the stage. Mentions Ty Cobb, Say Hey Kid, and all that kind of stuff. So look at me, center field. Number 4 is From Heart off their self-titled album, a ballad, These Dreams. Always liked the song, sung by the other sister, Nancy Wilson this time, the blonde, as opposed to Anne. Changes it up.
Right.
I think she does a fantastic job on it. I like that album. I know it gets a lot of grief because it's sort of a sappy, ballady album. It's not keeping up with the tradition of Heart with the rock and roll, but it still has some good stuff on it. My number 5 track is from Eric Clapton's Behind the Sun, Forever Man. I think it's a fantastic song. Really some killer guitar work in there. Forever Man, Forever Man, Forever Man. And he just goes jamming off that. Solid tune. And my number 6 track, Tears for Fears. Everybody Wants to Rule the World. I just love the melody on it. I know it's a popular tune. It's charts all over it, from songs from the big chair. But I think their voices blend well together, and they sort of just hit at the right time. And cool video with it as well. So that's going to end my side A.
You cannot get a better production from an album than you get. I mean, when me and Brian both didn't have that Tears for Fears on our list, but that album is so well made in a lot of senses. It's so well put together, that album, man.
Yeah.
The production on that thing is pretty high end. You know, it's honorable mentions on my side. I'm not going to say, it's not, but that's pretty high end, man. And that Forever Man is a really good tune from Clapton, by the way. I don't mind that song at all.
Yeah, songs from the big chair, really underrated. I mean, in retrospect, I feel like a bonehead for not appreciating it more when I was a kid. Yeah,
I could have went with Shout too, but I like Everybody Wants to Rule the World. I just love the song.
Oh, Head Over Heels on that album is a good song too.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
So that'll end that side. Now, side B, I'm going to open up with Dire Straits, Money for Nothing, Chicks for Free. I just like that at MTV. It was massive. Biggest video at the time. It was played thrice every 20 minutes, it seemed like. Oversaturated. The whole album's good. Brothers in Arms, title track.
It is.
So Far Away, Walk of Life. I like all those tunes. But I like this with Sting coming in at the end. I Want My MTV, that fade out that he sings. I want my, it's got the great riff, like you mentioned. Look at those yo-yos. Fucking, all the lyrics and stuff. It's kind of funny when you watch it. The spoof.
Stick it in the camera lens.
Right. Yeah. Right. Stick it in the camera. My second track on this side is All You Zombies by the Hooters. I'm a Hooters guy. They're from my area, Philadelphia.
Yes, they are.
They played here locally. They were a big underground band, and somehow they hit it big with that Nervous Night album, And She Danced, and there was a couple other tracks. But I like All You Zombies. It can be interpreted as sort of a social change, or there's some religious connotations about Moses and, all that kind of stuff. Current events. Take it for whatever you want. Excuse me. My third track is one that sort of had to stretch a little bit, but I was looking for a third track. Till Tuesday, Voices Carry with Amy Mann. I like her voice, kind of a naturalistic kind of tune here. Not a big fan of the band per se, but for some reason, this song always appealed to me. So I threw it on. Number 4 is I Drink Alone, George Thorogood and the Delaware Destroyers. Had to have it. I'm a Thorogood guy. He's from Wilmington, Delaware, which isn't that far away from me. And big locally here. And he was big back then, with Got Bad to the Bone, One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer. I like all his whole.
Oh, yeah. One bourbon, one scotch, one beer.
Yeah. Got a lot of great tunes. Number 5 is Silent Running by Mike and the Mechanics. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Big song.
Popular. I like the lead singer of that, Paul Carrick, who sang with Squeeze. He sang Tempted. He was the lead on that. And
correct.
He sang with Ace. So he's sort of a voice for hire. Mike and Mechanics bring him in. He does a great job. And later they would do that song. It's the song with the father and the son, Through the Living Years, which I really
Living
like.
Years.
That's coming up in either 87, 88, 89, in that range. And I'm going to end my album with Simple Minds, Don't You Forget About Me, from The Breakfast Club. Just a killer track from that year. And I do associate it with the movie. Scottish lead singer Jim Kerr, who was at a time married to Chrissy Hynde of the Pretenders, kind of a celebrity couple. But I love the track. Another one of these. Hey, hey, hey. You mentioned the Judd Nelson character. You can visualize that with the song. So that'll end my 12 tunes.
Very good.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
very good.
Pretty popular tunes for the most part. MTV, the charts, really no exceptions. And I try to carry over some of the guys I like from the 70s that were still doing it in the 80s, like Petty, Fogerty, Clapton, even Mellencamp a little bit, Dire Straits. They were starting in the 70s as well. Some new bands here like Till Tuesday, Simple Minds, Tears for Fears, and Mike and the Mechanics. So it's sort of a split, new bands and older stuff that just followed up from the good old days.
Man, that's I think that covers off 85 pretty good, because I think there was a lot of gamuts covered on that one, man, if you want the truth.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And we did go over as far as trifectas. We had some twofers. We had a couple of, especially you guys, you went 3 for 3 out of the chute on side A.
Yeah.
And I believe Brian and I, we had Don't You Forget About Me.
You guys had a couple, 2 or 3.
We had 2. We had Money for Nothing and Don't You Forget About
Right.
Me. And Doc and I had I Drink Alone.
I think that's the only one we had, Rich.
That's it. Yeah. So a mixed bag. Kind of covered 85, where we were at that time, or what we went back and discovered. Either way.
Yeah. Any honorable mentions? I mean, obviously, there's whole albums of honorable mentions. You're like, oh well, Scarecrow, Brothers in Arms.
Yeah, really.
And Doc mentioned Southern Accents and Don't Come Around Here No More from Petty.
Right.
I like those.
Yeah, Southern Accents. I love that album. Yeah.
I mentioned Shout, a couple of Hooters tunes. What else did I? Well, the Talking Heads had, and She Was, Stay Up Late, Road to Nowhere. I believe they were all on that album.
Yeah. Alive and Kicking for sure, you know.
Yeah, that was an honorable mention of mine too.
There was one more night. Studio drove me absolutely insane, so I would never include that.
What was yours? Yours was Take Me Home, wasn't it?
Supposed to be about. It was just terrible.
Take Me Home's a good song.
Was yours Take Me Home?
Huh?
Right? Was yours Take Me Home?
It was Take Me Home.
Yeah, I had that one written down. Yeah.
What You Need's a good one too. I should have had that down as an honorable mention, because I was looking.
Yeah, that made it. And I had Big Money from Rush. Actually, that was the one that was. I may or may not get grief. I'm not having some Rush again, but we'll see how it goes. I'll live with that. I also had a song called "Life in the Northern Town" by Dream Academy.
Yep, I remember that song.
Catchy as hell, man. That's all I can say. You know, it's it didn't make my list, but it was a big song in '85 too, man. So
that's right.
Frig, man. Bon Jovi had "In and Out of Love" for crying out loud, or something like that too. I think so.
Oh, I also had "Addicted to Love" by Robert Palmer as a.
That's right. Riptide came out that year, right?
Yeah. With the chicks, remember, with the black and the black suits and the lipstick, and they're just moving around.
They're just standing back there, like pretending they can play guitar.
Exactly.
Like, and we didn't care that they actually couldn't. We're like, I don't care.
You didn't even know if when you were watching it, did you really like the song or not? It was just like hypnotic, man. I'm not going to not look away.
Yeah. They all look the same. It looked like they cloned 20 girls and just stuck them back there, you know.
I also had "Little by Little" by Robert Plant that I had written down as well, and "Cannonball" from Supertramp.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Very good.
That probably does it for it, huh? We did pretty good.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby.
Bad. So, Well, I guess that will tie up for 1985. I mean, I think we did a really good job getting the core of the music that happened out that year. So that's really good. So if you guys get a chance, be sure to check out our Spotify list down below. Also check out Rich Strickler's channel. Rich, are you planning on going live tomorrow with your Friday with your live stream still? Yeah.
As of now, yes.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I know you can't
get a
make it.
chance.
It'll be Glenn, Randy, and myself. As of now.
Right. So if they get a chance to check out his live stream, check it out on noontime on Friday. Also, thanks for joining me, Doc. I really appreciate it.
Always a
Check
blast.
out our other videos, everybody, 1965 all the way through now, 1985. And let us know what you think. Leave your, comments and likes, and leave your top 12. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I like looking at those lists, and sometimes I end up adding songs from those lists, especially if I haven't, revisited a song in a long time. So I really appreciate it. So, and until next time, everybody, take care.
Take it easy.